All right, we have some dynasty buy low trade targets for you on the show today. These are all players that we feel as if their value has dropped, and now is the time to buy because we believe in their future. I'll start. I'll give you my first player, and that is Jerry Jeudy.
Come on.
How did this player become a buy low candidate? Well, look, I think everyone in the dynasty community would have had Jerry Jeudy ranked as a top 12 to 15 dynasty wide receiver from the day he was drafted in the NFL in 2020. Right on draft day, even probably before draft day, everyone believed in this talent and probably had him ranked in the top 12. So what's happened since then? Well, in 2020, he finished as a wide receiver 45 with Drew Lock at quarterback. And then in 2021, last year, he did miss 7 games, mostly with that high ankle sprain. Ended up missing, like I said, 7 games. Wide receiver 85 in 2021. Wide receiver 85 with no touchdowns. He finished the year without a touchdown.
Sheesh.
Teddy B and mostly Drew Lock at quarterback. And then something weird happens during the season. I think everyone assumed that Courtland Sutton would be moving on.
Yes.
And Jerry Jeudy was going to step into this number 1 role.
Classic.
But instead, the Broncos thought it would be a good idea to re-sign Courtland Sutton to a 4-year, $60 million contract when literally no one thought it was a good idea. No one thought it was a good idea. He didn't look like the same player to me, to you, and that contract was very surprising. But before that, they signed Tim Patrick as well to a contract extension. So all of this has led to a massive drop in Jerry Jeudy's value, okay? The high expectations, the bad finishes in fantasy, and then the wide receiver room getting more and more crowded. So let me tell you why I still believe in him. Number 1, I'm always going to bet on talent over opportunity, okay? At the time of the 2020 NFL draft, in that pre-draft process, I think Jerry Jeudy was my favorite wide receiver in that class. I do think he was my favorite wide receiver in that class. I think at this point, despite all the challenges, despite the bad finishes, I would still rank him as the second best wide receiver in this class, purely based off of talent. Okay? Only Justin Jefferson is a more talented wide receiver in the 2020 class, in my opinion. I know CeeDee Lamb is there, but still, I genuinely think that Jerry Jeudy is a better wide receiver talent-wise than CeeDee Lamb. You put Jerry Jeudy in the Dallas Cowboys and you swap their scenarios around, what would Jerry Jeudy look like at this point?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
As a route runner, a separator, I believe he falls under that elite category in the NFL. So what's the problem? Well, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rippon, and Kendall Hinton have been his starting quarterbacks in his career so far.
Yeah, it just wasn't good.
So brings me to my second point. Situations are changing, people. Okay? I don't know if the quarterback situation is going to get better. I can't promise you that, but I can 100% guarantee you that it will change this year. There will be a new quarterback. Will it be Kenny Pickett, Corral, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson? Whatever it is, change is coming. And that means that there should be hope that the talent will ball out. And at the end of the day, a new quarterback maybe forms a better connection with Jerry Jeudy, and the talent is what shows. And number 3, ball don't lie. Let's go look at 2 games that I want you to watch if you're questioning Jerry Jeudy. They're both in the 2020 year. Week 9 versus Atlanta and Week 17 versus the Raiders. Go watch that tape of Jerry Jeudy, and then you will be reminded the caliber of player that he is. He had 7 receptions, 125 yards, and 1 touchdown versus the Falcons, and then put up another great game versus the Raiders. And my last point, he's so young. He's actually younger than some of the wide receivers coming into this class. He's 22 years old right now. He'll be 23 by the time that the draft rolls around or the season. So young. So for me, I see Jerry Jeudy as still a top 12 wide receiver talent in this league. I just think everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. So when I evaluate the upcoming class of 2022, I could not tell you that there's a more talented player in this class. Okay?
Yeah.
Specifically in the wide receiver room. I don't believe that there's a better wide receiver talent in this class. Maybe Burks, maybe Jameson if he's healthy. So for me, I don't think it's going to cost you that, and that's what's great. You're not going to have to give up the 101, but I think a late 2021 first
I agree.
or an early second
I agree.
in 2022 or 23, excuse me, could get the job done. So I think this is someone who is uber talented. Situation's gone really bad, and now is the perfect time for you to try and buy him low. So who is your first buy low trade target, Badaki?
Look, amazing take, by the way. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. I thought it was good.
My first buy low player is Devonta Smith. And
I like it.
look, let's just talk about why he's low. And he's on the Eagles, okay? He's on the Philadelphia Eagles. Who is he tied with? Jalen Hurts. And honestly, the fantasy community is split half and half. Zach hates him.
He
doesn't hate him. He doesn't believe in him. Where the other fantasy community is like, I believe in him. I believe in Jalen Hurts. Okay, but look, besides that, Devonta Smith just wasn't good in fantasy in his rookie year. Averaged under 3 yards, not 3 yards, under 3 receptions per game. It was terrible. It wasn't good. And then when he had these crazy, amazing games, you weren't starting him because you didn't believe in him. You didn't believe in Jalen Hurts to do that. Okay, but why do I still believe in him? Okay, the talent. I mean, the natty game. It was crazy. This is what he can do. 12 receptions, 215 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That was before the first half was done.
Yeah.
That was before halftime.
And then he didn't play the second half.
And he didn't even play the second half.
Drop the mic.
That's what Devonta Smith can do. Okay? I mean, maybe he wasn't as integrated in the offense. They were still trying to understand. He was probably still trying to understand in his rookie year. Same thing with Jalen Hurts. It was his really full start in a year for Jalen Hurts as well. So this team is still trying to understand what's happening around them. Yeah. Once again, the question is, I think everyone can agree. We believe in Devonta Smith. You believe in Devonta Smith.
Yeah, like I said before, it's always talent over opportunity.
Exactly.
And I'm hoping that the situation changes. So I like the take.
And
as in Jalen Hurts.
For me, I believe in Jalen Hurts. And I believe even if he's not the guy, he only has 2 more years. Devonta Smith is only 23. By the time Jalen Hurts is out, he'll be 25. Why not invest in him now? Get him now and see the progression happen. You know, wow, you can see him. Maybe they get another quarterback. Maybe they move on from Jalen Hurts next year. But I believe in talent over opportunity in this scenario. So the big question for you guys is, do you believe in Jalen Hurts? And if not, I don't know, maybe this is not the guy for you. But I actually believe in Devonta Smith as a player, as a talent. Once again, all the evidence you need is in that natty game. He didn't have an amazing games in the NFL.
Even on film during the season, I mean, I think he was able to separate. I just don't think Jalen Hurts is that guy. And he's not going to be able to get. But that's why I say talent over opportunity. I like it. Like the opportunity, the situation could change. Yeah. So tell people, what's a price that you're willing to pay for him to get him on your team?
Look, and it's kind of like what you said about Jerry Jeudy. I don't think there's anyone more talented than Devonta Smith coming in. So I'm looking in the middle of the first round. So I don't think you give up a top 5 pick. I think 7, 8, 9 in the first round. And then if you can swindle a early second round, why not? Why not try and do it?
I like it. I like the take. All right, I'm going to give you my next and last buy low. And I wanted to find a player that I believe in and that I think literally everyone could trade for.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what sort of, maybe you've gotten rid of most of your draft picks or your high value draft picks. I wanted to find someone whose value was so low that I think literally everyone could trade for him. Okay. And that is Brevin Jordan. Okay. He was and has never really been a highly valued dynasty asset. I think I was really, really in love with him coming into last year's draft as a talent. Now, unfortunately, he did fall in the draft, and I didn't expect that. But I still believe in him. And the great thing about that is because he's never been a highly valued talent in dynasty, you can get him at a pretty good discount. But number one, let's look at what he did do with his limited opportunities. He was a scratch for a lot of the season. Personally, I think they're trying to get him integrated into the NFL still. Very young player. But what did he do with the opportunities that he had? He only had 28 targets all season. Okay? Only 28 targets for the entire year.
Right.
But he still put up 3 touchdowns. Okay? He scored a touchdown on over 9% of his targets. Let's look at the top 2 tight ends in fantasy this year. Travis Kelce scored a touchdown on 6.7% of his targets. Mark Andrews scored a touchdown on 5.8% of his targets. Now, I know some tight ends are red zone threats and they get more opportunities. I'm trying to point you towards the fact that he can score touchdowns. Imagine if he was starting every game and was their tight end 1. And let's talk about that. Number 2, there should be more opportunities on the way. Jordan Akins was their tight end 1 this season. However, he's now a free agent. Let's be honest. Ain't nobody trying to re-sign in Houston. Okay. For Jordan, probably for his career, it's probably better to move on from this franchise. As we all know, it takes time for a tight end to learn the position. And the Texans are going to stick with Davis Mills, which is good because we've already seen top 12 tight end finish weeks with Davis Mills as quarterback for Brevin Jordan. And the last thing is his age. He's only 21 years old. So he might not be a top 10 tight end in 2022, but you're not going to have to pay that price. You're going to pay a very low price. And I do believe he has the upside to be a top 7 tight end in the next 2 to 4 years.
Right.
Okay. Could happen this year, but the opportunities have to line up. And we know opportunities are everything. So this is a young player I believe in, is only going to get better. And I think now is maybe your last chance if he breaks out this year and takes over that tight end 1 position. So I am willing to give an early 2022 third rounder to get the job done. And you might think, who is trading third round picks? That is his value on every trade calculator you're going to find. A third rounder it should get the job done for Brevin Jordan. And another thing, if you are already in trade conversations with people, use him as a throw-in piece to get him back on your side. You know, maybe you're dealing with a player, dealing with an owner, trying to get a trade finalized, but you're just not happy with the value. You want that small little thing that pushes it over the hill. Make that Brevin Jordan for you. Badaki, who's your last buy low trade target?
My last buy low trade target is Saquon Barkley on my beloved New York Football Giants. Look, it's sad. He tore his ACL in 2020, and we expected a somewhat of a decent bounce back for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
You know, only 162 attempts this past year, just under 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's not going to cut it. He finished RB30. He's just not that guy, according to paper. But we all know Saquon Barkley's, you know, what he can do. He finished RB1, obviously I think if I'm not mistaken, his rookie year, 100%, you know, over 1,000 yards. I mean, he rushed. He had 121 targets in the air his rookie year. Obviously, completely different offense. But we know what Saquon can do. We know what he can bring to your fantasy team and to just an NFL team in general. He may have lost a step, but I do believe the talent is still there. He may not get the same workload, but I do believe if he gets a better workload or more workload and then a better offensive line, for sure, that Saquon Barkley could at least finish top 15. He could be in that 15 to 10 range. Maybe he can stay there comfortably, and you'll be okay with that. It's Saquon Barkley. It sucks. He tore his ACL. But I think everyone will be okay with that. Like, you know what? It's a good bounce back for Say. Yeah. But why do I still believe in him? 1, because of his talent. Once again, we know what he can do. 2, the New York Giants organization. You have to believe they're going to change. The first thing Joe Shane said when he got hired was that we need a better offensive line so that Daniel Jones and Saquon can have a better opportunity. That's the first thing he said. What are you going to do, Joe? We need an O-line. That's all I need. You hope that that's what's going to happen this year. That's another thing, if they keep him.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they will.
I think they will as well. But even if he does get traded, let's say he goes to Miami, the Dolphins, any other team, the talent's still there. And I do believe if a team is going to be trading for him,
I wouldn't be upset if there was a change of scenery for him. To be honest,
he's still going to get the work.
Better for him,
and he's still going to get the workload. You know, you're not going to trade for Saquon and be like, you know what, you're going to get less workload than what you got this past year. So look, if you're trying to get Saquon right now, me personally, I wouldn't be trying to sell him, or sorry, buy him for a first. But if I'm going to sell him, I'm looking for a low end first. You know, maybe a
second or.
If I'm going,
you said you're not going to sell him for a first.
If I'm going to buy him, I'm going to not get I don't want to give up a first. That sounds crazy.
So you want what would you be willing to give up for him then?
An early second. Okay. The 201, maybe the 112, because it doesn't necessarily feel like a first, but I don't think there's any talent in this draft that's more talented than Saquon Barkley still. So. I think the second round, early second round for me, that's what I'm willing to give up for Saquon.
The good thing about Saquon is we've seen it before, and now the price is not going to cost you what the upside is. There's massive risk there, right? Because 100%. Of the injuries. But I still think he's a very talented player. And you're right. You're not trading expecting him to be the running back 1. You're trading him expecting him to finish top 15. Yeah. That's his upside. So exactly. I like it. Let us know if you're going to try and trade for any of these players in the comments below.
Yo, what's good?
What
Thanks
up?
for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch
Now,
it.
You can also subscribe
Right now.
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.